Hello, hi, and welcome. So I titled this "No question mark" because don't ask me what it's about. Don't ask me what it's for and who it's for, if it's for you. Because if you gotta ask, then it isn't. Oh, I'm in a mood today. Hi, welcome to Real Koruk. I am tired. How are you? So I got a sticky dot, and it obviously belongs to this keyboard, but I'm not sure where it goes. Right here. Why is there only three? That's so weird. Do you think there'd be a fourth? I scooted the keyboard and I guess it came out of place. But it's still a little tacky. Still got some tack to it. So apparently y'all saw the Lionsgate video that I did, and I was like, this one, I don't know, maybe not expect it to be too crazy. I mean, it's a portal like any other, but I guess it was also about alignment with the standstill. I'm so over it. This is one of those readings. Number one, as always, take it if it resonates, as it resonates. And number two, again, just don't ask. Either follow or don't. Um, hey, Holly. Yeah, I was apparently wanting to go live before I went to bed that day. I still haven't been to sleep, so yeah, I'm still tired. But I ain't got to work tonight, so I can afford to wake up whenever. How are you doing? Like, apparently, Lionsgate slash yesterday was the curveballiest. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. 1 second. Hold up. Hold up. No! As I'm about to talk about how it's the curveballiest, like, I don't know what a curveball tarot card would be, but it's a curveball tarot card with an eight of wands. Just like, I'm like, what? What do you mean? So opportunity found me yesterday. I guess like the day before yesterday. Opportunity found me, and then coincidence or the great concertion of efforts saw a chance alignment, and I like, my mind was set, and then it wasn't. But now, again, because of the grand concertion of alignments, um, Max, the card shop owner, is my neighbor. And so I was like, hey, I was basically like, hey, like, because first I was like, oh, I could have dropped these off for you. And I was like, he sent me a video back, and I was like, oh, you're awake? Yeah, I'll be over there. So after talking to him, it helped put into perspective how. So there's a few things that are happening. Again, no questions, no question mark, question mark. This is primarily for me, but I'm doing it live, so you're here. um, so one of the things that I am aware of that's in my mind is slash was North Node Aries, South Node Libra. But another thing that was also in my mind was the heart and the crown chakra, but more specifically the heart in that. And I'm like, first of all, I'm like, why am I in this situation? Why couldn't opportunity find me in the most non invasional, non confrontational, most non tower moment way? Um, and so I'm like, I'm thinking really hard of like, it's not necessarily something that I asked for. I guess it's like, well, sometimes we get what it is that we need. Sometimes we get what it is that we want before we even know that we want it. And with different things that have been going on in my life recently, um, it's a solution. It's a solution that I didn't even know apparently was on the table until it was on the table, until it was in my lap, until it's like, oh, so like, what are you going to do? And I'm like, but I was talking to Max and he helped me see that there is actually a potential outcome in this that works out for several people. And like, because I guess at first, in my limited, I guess in the immediacy of everything, there were the things that were the most important, I guess, that came to the surface first. And it was like, that's when it was like, okay, like, what's the heart say about this? The heart says, but now the heart is like, this could end up working out. It could end up working out really well for everybody. Um, in a way better, again, like better than I would have necessarily thought. It definitely be like a challenge, but and then so the thing that I was like, oh my gosh, my word for this year is expedition. And I chose expedition like the word yeah, I chose the word expedition because the energy felt very fast, but it also felt like usually when I think of fast, it sacrifices in mobility for what it gains in speed. Um, and so first, like it was like a train, and I was like, okay. But then it was like a train that's like able to pivot and turn and do all this other stuff, and it doesn't drop speed. So I was like, what is that? And I eventually set it on expedition, and I've talked about it before. I set it on expedition because of like to expedite something, to quicken something, to accelerate and speed something up, but also expedition in the terms of like, or in the sense of adventure. And what's that word? It's adventure, it's exploration, pioneering, for like adventure and pioneering. And now I'm like, oh, because I'm like, this energy, it came out of nowhere. There's an insane amount of momentum behind it. And it goes into a space that I'm like, oh my gosh. So, as I was in my mind, as I typically am, as I was doing the work things today, um, one second, I gotta send this voice note. All right, I'm back. I had to send a voice note to my journey buddy, explaining to her why I'm like, oh, well, my word is expedition this year. And it's interesting because, like, there's someone at work who's been telling me, he was like, he's been saying, like, your trajectory here is like, it's going to be so quick. It's going to be so fast. And I'm like, expecting to be where I was for a lot longer than however long I've been here. And I'm like, so I was thinking about it as I do. And I was like, I'm going to use these cards. I'm gonna... I am finishing the bottle of mead, so there is Oracle juice here. Oh my gosh. Well, if it isn't my journey buddy. Hey, Em, how are you doing? I'm just casually losing my mind. It's fine. Do y'all want to hear Emily? Oh. I thought, yeah, it's fine. I'm doing well, I guess. I don't know. How are you? So, because I'm pretty sure I sent you a voice note. Yeah, I sent you a voice note about it yesterday, and then you sent me a voice note yesterday, and we talked about this. Is she gonna say hi? Is this her? It's a voice message. I mean, I guess y'all already know what Emily looks like and sounds like because I had the great fortune of being able to see my friend in the flash the day that I moved in. Let's give the people what they want. In case you missed it the first time, this is my journey buddy, Emily. Let's give the people what they want. Apparently, somebody in the universe is thinking the exact same thing. So I was talking to Max, and after talking, as I was talking to him, I realized how this unexpected, sudden change that had the potential to negatively impact one person who has been making do for since the beginning of the year. But it's like there's someone else who has a heart that is not unlike mine, who also would not want opportunity to come at the expense of another, who potentially, and it's almost one of those things that it's like it wouldn't be this smooth, it wouldn't have this much momentum if it were to work out. But there's a potential that they could also benefit. Now, that's the thing that I wasn't considering until extremely recently. And I was like, oh, so this is a win-win-win situation. Interesting. Because I was like, I know my little heart. I know the universe, the divine knows my heart. I know that I'm not going to be put in a situation to like compromise it, right? Apparently, maybe it all works out for the better. But yeah, so I'm going to pull around the hypocrite. I'm going to pull before and after the hypocrite. I was going to do 2 cards, wasn't I? Before and after the hypocrite, and then before and after the inventor. Because I was like, of course, you do, if you say anything to the universe, let alone on YouTube, or maybe it's just me. Let me not speak for anybody else. Because every now and then I'll get on here, I'll be pulling cards, and I'll say what the cards are talking about. And then lo and behold, excuse me, I'm trying to think of when Mercury retrogrades. And then, hey, oh yeah, you're right. Well, let me add, do you want to be a mod in? I don't want to force mod status on anybody. I've had it thrust upon me, and I'm like, I don't want to moderate. So what was I saying? Yeah, every now and then I'll. Okay, there you go. That means you get to not rabble rouse because I don't think that's the. There we go. Oh, there we go. It means your name changes to blue and you get a wrench. Um, so I had it and then I lost it again. Yeah. Basically, like, are you going to be a hypocrite? Are you going to do the thing that you've said that you've been doing, or not said that you've been doing? Are you going to do the thing that when you pull the cards and when you're doing the reading, Mr. Chili Pepper? Are you going to do it? And that's why I'm like, oh my gosh. But it's just like there's a confluence of so many things right now. And it is, again, like I said, it's a solution that I didn't expect. But it puts me in a position of increased responsibility, number one. But it puts me in a realm. It's interesting because it's like it's one that I was going for. There's Max. LOL. LOL. Woo! Give me 10 seconds to listen to this really quick. So yeah, he's like, just do it, do it. I'm like, who this? One second. I know who this is. I'm like, what's this? Oh, anyway, so yeah, it happens, and honestly, like it keeps me honest. Um, you know, there've been a few times where I'm like, I pulled cards on this, I read this, I threw down the gauntlet to anyone that it resonates with and for, should they choose to pick it up. Am I going to pick it up, or am I going to be the hypocrite? So I'm going to look, I guess, like that's so many archetypes though. Because then I was like, I can pull, I also grabbed the mythical creatures oracle. And I was like, I can pull a mythical creature and then an archetype and try to read that creature through the archetype to see how that comes through. I don't know. So let's just do it. I'm going to pull before and after. So yeah, I was like, no questions, but I basically told you exactly why I'm doing this. It's just like so unexpected. And like, I guess I've been hearing like your trajectory is going to be a lot faster. Your trajectory is going to be a lot faster. And it's like, it's an alignment of opportunity. There is a void that I just naturally feel, apparently. I was like, okay. And I was so certain. I was so certain that this decision would be so easy. I just like, no. But now it's like I can't dismiss it that easily. This better not be who this is. You can leave a message. Um What was I saying? I don't even know. I don't even know. It's a lot faster. It's a lot quicker. And again, it was just like I happened to be in the right place at the right time. And it's like, oh, like I can get this to you in 10 minutes. I'm like, I was so certain I wouldn't even consider it. But it's like, I can't. And so the reason why the hypocrite is coming out is because it's like, it's not that it's coming out. The reason why I'm going to look for it. No questions. But it's like, it's not for me purely like financial. And I don't know, obviously, apparently, I don't know anything about anything. And I guess it's interesting or funny because like when I was in training, they were like, oh, like it's pretty difficult to get on at this company out here. And I was like, I was laying in the bed one day and something told me, get on and check and see if they have any openings. And they did. Because of the experience that I had. And again, I've talked about this before, but last year was my Saturn return. But I can't, since it was my Saturn return, I don't know. It was difficult. It was challenging the whole way through. But it never felt like it was for me to quit. If I would have quit then, I wouldn't even be able to be where I am now. But like something just told me like, oh, get on there, apply. I get in there. It's not even been 2 months. Has it? Yeah, it's been 2 months. 2 months and some change. And I'm like, what? What? I don't know what the path is moving forward. I was thinking of it in one way, in one sense. Basically, I was thinking of it in the way that I would like to do it. I would like to do it the way that I would like to do it because it makes sense to me, but also because it's comfortable. But because of my Saturn return, I've literally already experienced like doing the thing that I never thought I'd do, number one, and that I'm not really comfortable with, number two. Putting myself out there, pushing myself, and allowing me to prove to myself that I'm a lot more capable than I give myself credit for, than I allow myself to be. And there's been a whole bunch of other things that's like, it's been changing very almost subtly and then all at once. And maybe this is the next thing. And it's like, but again, like I guess it wasn't that quick. There was a teaser about a month ago, maybe. There was a teaser, there was a question, there was an introduction. There was a, hey, are you interested in this? And I was like, yeah. And then it came full circle, or it came back. And then it was like boom, 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 boom. And I was like, whoa. I'm still like, whoa. Nothing has been done yet. But yeah. Apparently. Expedition. How's that for you? That's why I was like, sometimes when I pick a word, I'm like, why this word? Like when the word was acceptance. Was it acceptance? Or was it just like, I'm pretty sure it was accept or acceptance. And then I was like, allowance. Allow. The word was allow. That's what the word was. And then there were times in the year when I'm like, and it's like, well, your word for this year is allow. The energy that you're supposed to be in this year is allow. You're supposed to be in an energy of allowance. I'd be like, okay, I guess we're allowing. Just like right now, I'm like, okay, I guess it's expedition. So the hypocrite is like, if I don't do the thing that I say, if I become the hypocrite, you know what I mean? I'm gonna pull from the top of the deck. I was gonna do from the bottom, but it's fine. Is this literally the eccentric? Is there an inventor in here? There is an inventor, but the card that came to my mind, I had the image of the eccentric in my mind, but the name of the inventor, I have never seen this. I thought it would have been, is that the innocent? I was thinking it would be the innocent. I had the eccentric in my head. Okay, anyway, we're going for it. Um, the hypocrite and the inventor are the two that I'm looking before and after. So the first three cards, because y'all know I love to do it, it's the eccentric, the shadow diver, and the awakener. The eccentric, the shadow diver, the awakener. I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory. Um, the eccentric is the one that does things in a way that can be seen as like unconventional. Well, the eccentric almost in essence is the I guess, dimensional, if we want to keep it on brand or in theme. The eccentric is, I'm thinking eclectic. I'm thinking eclectic. So, yeah, the eccentric is the one that sort of like pushes the envelope, that goes above and beyond, the one that's a little extra, it's a little much. And then the shadow diver is here. The shadow diver is the one that dives into the shadow. And then the awakener is there. So there's something, it makes me think of the five of water with the queen of fire at the bottom of the deck from the Dreams of Gaia Tarot. And it was that energy. It's like there's something about a situation or circumstance that awakens something within the individual. Something that was always there, that they may have known about at one point but forgot about. It's definitely about pushing boundaries and entering realms that are uncomfortable. But the eccentric isn't necessarily, I feel like the eccentric wouldn't be uncomfortable shadow diving, because the eccentric is kind of like into everything. You know what I mean? But what does that awaken? Oof. So I'm looking for the inventor and I'm looking for the hypocrite. There's a blank card in here. I don't remember if I knew that. There's my hypocrite. So you are going to remain face down. And then I'm going to pull from the bottom of the deck until I get to the inventor. I love that the hypocrite came out first because I wanted to find the hypocrite first. But I didn't want to force that. You know what I mean? So the lion, the green man, and I'm like looking for the name. The dreamer. The lion, the green man, and the dreamer. You know what's interesting about that is this. There's a lion. There's a lion. Also, Lionsgate. Lionsgate was like, oh, you think I'm not a portal? You're going to rate me as if I'm not a portal, like the most magical portal of the year? I'll show you. I'm like, whoa. Anyway, I put the wrong card back. I put the lion where the awakener is supposed to be. There we go. The lion, the green man, and the dreamer. There's something that it's like it doesn't maintain its form here, or it's something that appears as something else. I think the dreamer also brings in an element of, it's almost like a metaphor, but it's like how one thing can stand for something else. And then with the green man here, it's almost like green man can appear as anything. Kirsty, hello, how are ya? How are you doing today? Okay, up and then there's our inventor. Oh, but I can see the card. That is hilarious. The arbiter, of course. Um, I kind of would prefer. There we go. So the image that was in my mind was the eccentric when I was thinking of the inventor. And then I was like, oh, like the eccentric is the eccentric. So certainly the inventor is that other card. And here it is right here. It's the innocent. It came out next to the actual inventor. This is the inventor. I was like, I've never seen that card. I've never seen this archetype. Apparently, I flipped through the book enough to see the word to know that it was in the deck. And then on the other side is the Herife. The Herife is the forgotten, but it's not forgotten. The Herife is the thing that is remembered that can't be found. Hey, I'm glad to hear it. Those sweet, sweet grandson lovin's. Excuse me. Am I still gonna? I feel like the tire just hit, or maybe it was the alcohol. And I know you're saying, Patrick, it's 10:40 a.m. where you live. Why are you drinking? Because I'm a grown man and I get to do what I want to do with my days off. Why aren't you drinking responsibly if you are of age? I'm kidding. I remember one time I drank. I'm a day drinker. I drink whenever I want to drink. I don't drink excessively though, so that also helps. Um, it was like 10 o'clock in the morning. I went to one of the bars on campus, and I was in my shot of the day phase for a hot minute, and I tried it, and the bartender was like, she was like, "Oh, I was wondering what it tastes like, but it's a little early to be drinking." And I was like, but you're serving me my shots. You're serving me my drinks and you're telling me it's too early. I don't appreciate your judgment. But I loved her. She was awesome. She was cool. I think I loved a lot of the people that gave me drinks. There was one girl who worked at Jake's. Jake's was my place. They had half price appetizers. And then on Thursdays, it was like fishbowl Thursdays. And she made my drinks right. She just did. She loved how she loved. She just knew how I liked it, I guess, and I loved it. And she was like, "Oh, I put a little grenadine in it this time." And I was like, "Ooh, okay." Anyway, thank you. I mean, water, anything that you want to drink. Anyway. So the card that came out before the hypocrite is the illuminator. The illuminator. And that's interesting because that's what I was talking. I'll do these reads or whatever, do all this illuminatory type stuff. And then when the situation or circumstance pops up in my life, then it's like, so what are you going to do? There's a card that's face down after the hypocrite. I left it face down. Um, the Hiraeth is hard to. The Hiraeth is a feeling of, it's like longing for a home that you've never known. And it's interesting that it came out with the inventor because now there's some weird timeline. Just there's some weird time stuff here. Because with the inventor being in between the Hiraeth and the innocent, it's longing for a thing that hasn't been created yet. The assumption is that the inventor is the one that creates the thing, but the longing exists, the memory exists, the feeling exists before it's even found. Oh, who is it? Huh? What? Oh, the boy, I got cards that are face up. The Illuminator, the Hypocrite, and the Blank. All right. So I want one card. I'm going to give these a few shuffles. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the first two cards for the top two, and then the bottom two cards for the Hiraeth and the Innocent. So the Illuminator is coming out with Cerberus, which is the dog that sits at the gates of Hades. The mystery card gets the unicorn. Cerberus and the unicorn. On the Hiraeth is the centaur. And on the innocent is the Gulon. Now this one came up before with the Brony. Bruni with the Bruni. Cerberus with the Illuminator. I was gonna try to not read the books, but I'm so tempted to read the books. But since I have the feeling of not reading the books, I'm going to stick to. I mean, the Gulan. I don't know what that's about, but we'll see. I guess. I mean, it came out on top of the Innocent. I don't know what that is. It fits. Innocent, more like the naive. Anyway, Cerberus. It's the dog, 3 heads, 1 body, Hades. And Disney's Hercules, I can't remember if it was in the myth of Hercules. Cerberus has been bested a few times. I think Hercules was with brute force. Orpheus was with music. The one that comes to my mind is Orpheus, and how Orpheus lulled Cerberus to sleep and then got past Cerberus. With Cerberus and the Illuminator, it takes me back to the Shadow Diver. If the underworld is our own shadow, or if the underworld is those parts of ourselves that we try our best to avoid, then Cerberus is the gatekeeper to that. With this being on top of the Illuminator, it feels like situations and circumstances in life that illuminate things to us. It's like a sensitivity that we have, and we don't necessarily know why. Like it points something out. Um, to the heat wave in Europe this year, is it really? Oof. Why? Why that name? They said, "Welcome to hell." Oh gosh. Well, not even welcome. They said this is just the beginning. This is the gatekeeper. This is the dog at the door that you got to make it past to get into the house. I didn't even know heat waves had names. Anyway, that's interesting. Um, it's like it illuminates something to us. So we get to take on the shadow diver is the one that would take the opportunity to go, oh, this is a sensitive area for me, and I have no idea why. Let's dig into that. Like let's see what's up. Um, and so in that way, it helps bring certain things to light. Now with the unicorn here, with unicorn, it's making me think of like a person that is like too perfect to be real. It can be an opportunity too. It could be anything. Because they often say that how something is too good to be true, but the unicorn is true. It's one of a kind. It's perfect. And I think it's almost, I don't know if it's telling. It's interesting that the unicorn, like there's a card that's face down after the hypocrite, and the unicorn is there. It's almost like without, it's very like nothing ventured, nothing gained. Without venturing into the underworld, past Cerberus, with that illumination, it reveals the truth of a matter. It's like it's easy to believe a lie when we willingly and willfully avert the truth, whatever that truth is. Probably an inconvenient one because it's Cerberus. You know, Cerberus is in the gates of or in the fields of Elysium, um, and it makes me think of the contaminant blowing in the breeze, searching for an open eye. It's something that we want to, but like if something is too good to be true, then it's like we want something to be wrong, or we need for something to be like off in order for us to feel worthy of accepting whatever it is. I'm actually going to flip this now because I can. And I'm tired of, I don't know, it not being the, oh, of course, of course. It's the moon cat. The moon cat is the unicorn, and it fits moon cat energy perfectly. Also, the last time the hypocrite came out, Mooncat was also here. Mooncat was the one because so hypocrite, it's very there's a lot of like pomp here with the hypocrite. The hypocrite is the one that's like, oh, I know this person and I know that person and I've done this and I've achieved that. But when it comes down to it, the hypocrite doesn't always tell the truth. Or the hypocrite isn't always as well versed or as well acquainted as they would make themselves appear to be. And so Mooncat was the one that's like, I like the energies that you're talking about, whatever, I know personally. I walk with. Got lunch with them yesterday. We're friends. We actually meet up every week. I've never seen you there. And I know that like that energy would never do this. So, but if you don't know, then the hypocrite sounds convincing. If you don't know, then it's like you would take everything that the hypocrite says as fact. The Illuminator came out before the hypocrite. Cerberus is there. Again, it feels like when we go into the underworld and when we really face those truths of the self, we're a lot harder to deceive in ways because we don't need for certain falsehoods to be true in order to maintain a feeling of security in what we know of the world and what we know of ourselves and anything else. Now, this at the bottom with the inventor, we have the Heraith with the centaur. The centaur is giving me half man, half beast energy. Also, there's the Tyr rune or Tiwaz. But it's reading as like this point in time where there wasn't a divide between like spirituality and science. Where, because it's reading as like man being both civilized and animalistic at the same time without those two different sides competing against each other, which has been a theme apparently. It's both. And with the Heraith being here, it could definitely be past life type energy. What is this at this point? I don't know. It could definitely be past life energy. It could also be a remembrance of a future that is yet to occur within one's lived experience. With the innocent and the Gulan, again, I don't know what this one is, but it's giving me gluttony and sloth. Excuse me. Oof. This one's stumping me a little bit. There's something about just like experiencing the world. Honestly. And it's like it wants to experience everything. Which is a little concerning, I guess. I mean, it can be, it doesn't have to be. But it's almost like, what other way would there be to? It's like the innocent knows that whatever it is that it is looking for does not exist, or it doesn't exist in a pre-made or a ready to assemble form. And so if you know that the thing that you're going after doesn't exist, or if you know that you won't find it where you are, again, it's almost like it's because the Heraith is here that there is so much uncertainty. And so the innocent has to go out and experience as many things as it can in order to, it's like it's looking. And it almost feels like the search of the innocent can be, especially from the outside, but maybe even sometimes the innocent can question themselves. It's almost like it from the outside, it could look like not desperation. Um, I can't find the word. It's like it can look lost. It can look like there is no purpose. It could look like it is trying to substitute. It could look like it is like trying to fill a void, if that makes any sense. But it isn't. Cool. Well, I don't have any. I have the Clarity Tarot still on the table, but I don't want to use it. The Moon Cat is most definitely the unicorn from the archetypes that I know. In the archetype, unicorn, but I could see it's eccentric being unicorn, but it's most definitely the Moon Cat. Moon Cat is all about marching to the beat of one's own drum. The Moon Cat is the one that has a deep intuitive knowing mixed with a deep trust and an equal, if not greater, amount of faith. It's like the difference between trust and faith. Yeah. All right. See you later, Emily. I'm sure we'll catch up. Thanks for joining me, for making an appearance now that I've read your name. I'm at the point now where I'm like, ew, why is someone that I know in real life watching me? I'm over it. So it was lovely reaching this point where I didn't freak out that you commented. Thanks for spending time with me. Anyway, all the best with the call, too, of course. Um, See, what's interesting, there was a reading that I did a minute ago. Oh, I love Sarah Bareilles. There was a reading that I did a while ago, and there was an energy of like a map. There was an energy of an area being mapped out, but the map was blank. And it's like with the Illuminator and Cerberus, because the Moon Cat operates under moonlight, because the Moon Cat inherently deals in uncertainty. It's like there are these hidden, they're not even hidden, they're like invisible. There are these invisible pathways that Cerberus, there are these invisible pathways that exist in the underworld. And I don't know if they're like pathways or if they're wormholes or portals. It's almost like the hypocrite is so certain of the things that they're certain of that they don't allow themselves a freedom of exploration that the innocent for sure has. And like it's the archetype of the inventor. The inventor is the creator, is the birther of things that do not exist. Like if they already exist, it's not that, it's not much of an invention. The inventor literally brings into the world that which is not already in it. So again, to find the innocent here and the hereof here, it's not extremely surprising. It's almost like these are sub archetypes of the inventor. Just like it's because it looks like a hierophant, the hypocrite. But maybe it's like just like it's the hypocrite to like do one thing and say another, or to say one thing and do another. Because we have the illuminator of the sun with the moon cat of the moon. It's like the path that it walks isn't necessarily the one that it talks about. And in that, it makes things that aren't as uncommon much more rare. Cool. I guess that's it. So yeah, it's apparently Lionsgate has been Lions gating. Excuse me. I do want to do this in the other direction though, where I'll get the mythical creature first, and then an archetype. I don't know. I'll just do one of them. Yeah, I'll do a mythical creature first, and then an archetype. And I might have to read the book. Luckily, I got enough archetypes or enough mythical creatures that I know. You know what I mean? 3 out of 4, I was at least somewhat familiar with. It's almost like it's very human to create rules and circumstances in which certain things apply and which others don't. It's almost like it's because of that it's difficult, or it can be difficult sometimes, to see where things match or meet or align. Um, or it can be difficult to see them as not opposing. It can be difficult to see them as non opposing views or things. All right. So I'm not getting you first. I'm getting one of these guys first. I want one. There we go. And it's face down. Cool. The fairy. Oh my gosh. Not the fairy. So fairies are interesting. I feel like fairies, and actually it makes me think Russ was somewhere. It was Fairy Gate. Russ was somewhere and he mentioned, or he showed like a gate, a random gate in the pathway. And it was reading very Fairy Gate. Um but the danger was, it's like if we oof, I'm trying real hard. I'm getting like real sleepy now. I'm about to go to bed. It's like if there's anything that we run from, if there's anything that we hide from, if there's anything that we seek escape from, then it's like it's supposed to be a walk through the enchanted forest or whatever, wherever the fairies live. But if there's anything that we carry that we run from, then it's like we become prey in that forest because we want to stay there. And we'll grow roots and we'll become trees. We'll become a part of the fairy forest. And we're not necessarily meant to. But it's like it's because we wouldn't want to go back to our lives, or it's because there's something that we can't face that we grow roots in something that or somewhere that it's not for us to grow roots. And so it's almost like the fairy plays a completely different role for different individuals. It's like to the one that would grow roots, the fairy can be almost like very malicious, but it's like it's very enticing. And to the one that won't stay in the forest, then the fairy is a guide to get them out of it. You know what I mean? It's like, well, if you're not going to stay here, then what's the point of you being here? Yeah, we'll help you out. And it makes me think of the other card in the Diceology. It's like an inn that welcomes weary travelers, a hot tub, or something like that, and a sly grin. If you've ever seen Spirited Away, it's almost like that. It's very like siren-y. It's very like I know that the woes of the world are many and living can be very difficult, but here there's nothing for you to worry about. There's nothing that you will ever want or need. Just stay in the forest. Become a tree. Is it really? Oof. Well, it's the fairies that lead us to the gulag. No. um, but again, it's like if we won't fall prey to that, or if we don't have that thing that we try so desperately to escape or get away from. Um, okay, Holly, it's not that. I mean, it could be. It's whatever it takes to get you to stay there. So for many a people, for many a person, it would be exactly that. Um, but if that's not the case, then we get to see the fairy as the more typical, I guess, magical depiction of and like sweet and stuff like that. At least that's how I read fairy. Now, the archetype of this fairy, we'll see. Which face of the fairy are we getting? Archetype of the fairy. Is Grace. Um so this would be a fairy that's a guide. This is a fairy unlike the ones that I spoke of. Um this is a helpful fairy. This is a fairy that will see the lost. A sly gin. um, this is the fairy that will see the lost and will help guide them through the forest rather than allow them to become a part of it. This is the fairy that understands. So the way that it first came to my mind, it's like that's the fairy that understands how difficult life is and how predatory the forest can be. And I don't know if the forest is predatory by nature or if the forest is predatory by design. If it's by nature, it's intentional. If it's by design, it's just because the forest is what the forest is that we want to remain there and not go back. It's not because of anything that the forest tries to do. It's just what the forest is. And we're like, oh my gosh, this place is so gorgeous. Like, I never want to leave. There's a difference between, like, oh my gosh, this place is so gorgeous. Like, I don't want to leave. I don't want to go home. I'd love to, like, live here. And, like, an energy that is more, it's like, that's not what it, like, it puts on a front in order to appear a certain way. The grace of the fairy. Again, this is the one that understands. Life is hard, life is challenging, life is difficult, and I know that you'd love to stay here because it's gorgeous and because there aren't a lot of things that, it's like, it's because we don't have the same problems in the same ways that we do in the city. But the forest has its own problems. The forest has its own beasts, and the forest has its own challenges. It is not the safe haven that you think it will be. That fairy's like, oh, you're lost. Let me help you home. Um, wait. A drawing for an inflatable hot tub. Ooh, if you win the inflatable, I don't know if you're going to enter the drawing for the inflatable hot tub, but I almost feel like you should just to see if you'll win it. Ooh, I want to do one more. Let's do one more. See, I can admit when I'm wrong. I had that fairy read all the way wrong. That fairy's like, actually, I'm one of the nice ones. I'm one of the good ones. I'm one of the ones that you see on TV. It's like, oh, okay, cool. All right, one more. Ooh, the manticore. Oof. So the manticore is a creature of myth. It's almost like the manticore. The manticore is a monster that was created in order to scare children into doing what it is that adults want them to do. Until people discovered that it was actually real. It's that kind of energy. Um, like, it's more than just a fairy tale. It's more than just the thing to avoid. It's to, be good, or else the manticore will come and get you. And in that way, it almost feels like it's a little bit of just desserts or karmic justice. Because it feels like maybe almost with being opposed to, maybe almost an, it's almost like very, it's like, so the adult tells the kid, be good unless the manticore will come and get you. And then the manticore approaches the adult. you know? See, now that's where the hypocrite would be in trouble, because manticore would get the hypocrite. It's almost like it's something that it's more than just used to intimidate or scare. Um, no batteries needed. What? See, you say torch, and I think of a torch, but you're talking about a torch. Your torch is my flashlight. um, but anyway, I feel like I almost had a thought. You said something. I feel like I had it and then I lost it. No, you're good. You're fine. Oh, what is it? I feel like the thought is almost there. I have a torch that works by shaking it. No batteries needed. Like I'm reading that magic torch. I have a torch that works by shaking it. No batteries needed. And I feel like the thought, like the first time I read it, it was there. And then I was like, oh, torch, flashlight. And I'm trying, like, and then I lost it. And I was like, I can't get the thought. It's fine. Um, the manticore isn't necessarily reading as an energy that comes into existence because so many people talk about it, like a boogeyman or something. Like the boogeyman becomes real because of the fear that is created and circulated. Um, but yeah, that's why it's almost like a karmic justice, or it's almost like a just dessert. When it's like we threaten someone else with the manticore, and then the manticore comes for us, and then it's like, "Whoa! I didn't think you were real. I was just kidding. No, I didn't know that there would be consequences to my actions. Oh my gosh!" All right, what's the archetype of this manticore? It's also chimeric, meaning it has properties from multiple creatures. The manticore is fearsome. I feel like that was almost the thought that I had, but I can't. Ooh. 2 cards. This card was at the bottom of the deck when the last one, Grace. When Grace came out, this card was at the bottom of the deck. So we have, is that Angel? Yeah, Angel and Moon Cat with this manticore. Angel is an interesting energy because it feels like there are multiple sides to this angel. It's like for the righteous, the angel is one way. And for the unscrupulous, the angel is something completely different. But it's like it's the same. I guess with angel, it's reading as principality, um, or it's reading as a concept come to life. And with the moon cat, it's like it doesn't work or operate the way that we think it does. It doesn't work in the way that's convenient, right? It's almost like the manticore isn't something that is just used to scare children whenever we want them to stop misbehaving or whenever we want to basically control them. It's like that's not how manticore works. Um, I guess I could. This is a little more difficult than I thought it would be. Um, Manticore, Mooncat, and Angel. Well, I guess I did say that the Manticore is chimeric, and we have 2 different archetypes here. It's almost reading as if like the Manticore isn't. Oh, it's almost reading as if like the Manticore. Hey, Cause of Harmony, how you doing? Happy belated Lionsgate. Or happy belated 8-8. I know. Well, yeah, that's the Lionsgate because well, the portal is open over a period of time anyway. No problem. I do it for you. Um, it's almost like it feels inconsistent. The moon cat and the angel makes the manticore inconsistent. Um, Meaning it's almost like it does what it wants to. I want to tap out on this one. I'm gonna ask Bixby to flip a coin. If Bixby says heads, I'm tapping out. If Bixby says tails, I'll try. Hey Bixby, flip a coin.
All right, here comes the flip. Tails it is.
Did I say tails? What did I say? If Bixby says tails, then I'll continue. Is that what I said? Oof. Well, I hope it makes me think of like the lion and the mouse, where the mouse pulls out the thorn and bandages the lion's paw. I hope you do well to recover, get well soon. I can't remember what I said tails would be. I know somebody was paying attention. Kirsty, do you remember what tails was? Holly? Was tails like I'm gonna keep trying, or was tails like oof? Oof. If I'm trying not to read books. Tails was I tried. Boo. Darn it. I'm getting a second opinion. Hey Google, flip a coin.
It's heads.
Oh, I said Bixby, so I'm gonna honor it. The manticore with the angel and mooncat archetype. I really wish I could remember what the thought was that was trying to come to my brain. There's some, I guess it's almost like the manticore. It's making me think of um something that is used, something that is threatened as a punishment that becomes a reward. Like specifically, there's an anime that's coming to my mind. And in the anime, it's like whenever the characters are about to basically break a taboo, their bodies lock up. Like, and they can't do anything. And there's one character in a time of great distress, because in this world, it's like those of a lesser nobility have to obey the higher nobility, no matter what. And so there was something that was very wrong that was happening. And a noble of a higher nobility told the character to basically allow it to happen. And he was like, no way. Like his body was locking up, his body was seizing up, and like he broke the taboo. It's making me think of that. So it's almost like when the taboo breaks, you would expect to be punished, but it became a reward because of the situation. And maybe that's the mooncat too. Like maybe that's the marching to the beat of one's own drum in the mooncat. And maybe again, it's like maybe that's the principle behind the angel, because the angel is above human law, or the angel exists outside of human law and governance. It's a right and wrong that goes on a much deeper level. There are certain things that aren't illegal, but shouldn't necessarily still be done. You know what I mean? So if someone's like, well, it's not illegal, so, and it's like, okay, well, yes, it's not illegal to be a terrible person, but maybe we should try to be good, nice, caring, compassionate people anyway, You know what I mean? Like, does it have to be illegal? um, and so maybe then, but no, because like this is the archetype of, so in that, again, it's like the manticore is used as a threat in order to enforce compliance. But it's like when the manticore shows up, it does the exact opposite. It rewards for not doing whatever shady, nasty, whatever, that this is. Not this, but this is interesting. All right, let's do one more. I should quit now, but I'm going to try to do one more. And it's like, it's in a real way. I don't have to clarify. I don't have to say what it is or what it isn't, because it is what it is. Boo, doo, boo, boo, boo. Hey, diddle, diddle, cat in the fiddle. The cow jumped over the moon. All right, last mythical creature. Ooh, 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 ooh. Why did you? Oh, that's why. If the card that I saw at the show comes out, it'll be really interesting. I was like, why was the dragon in my mind? Because I just saw the image of a dragon. Anyway, the Western dragon is here, not to be confused with the Eastern dragon. The Western dragon is interesting. The Western dragon is. Let's get another one. I already put it in the deck. I already lost it, unless it's right here. Yeah, let's not. Yeah, it's fine. Let's just get a different one. All right. Last mythical creature. Oh, no. This is way too many. Way too many. I can do multiple archetypes. I can't do multiple mythical creatures. I'm sorry. All right. I need to go to bed, so. Oh, here we have another lion. The manticore had the head of a lion, body of a lion, head of a man, tail of a scorpion, maybe. I've gotten this one time. I don't remember. Oh, it was because the head craves meat, but the body can't process it. Like the ant is herbivorous and the lion is carnivorous. And so there's an inability for it to process what it eats. It's like what it craves is not good for it. I don't know if it's not good for it. This is another chimeric one. I'd almost be interested to see if something that is about masks comes out. It almost feels like a false confidence. It's overcompensation. It's reading as overcompensating or biting off more than one can chew. All right, let's get the archetype. Archetype, please. Do. It's the hypocrite. You say you want beef, but you vegetarian. You don't want none. So don't act like you do. Because when it comes for you, oh, I didn't mean it. I'm just kidding. 2:30 a.m. We'll have an excellent night. It's basically 2:30 a.m. over here because I've been up since almost 18 hours ago. Oh, Australia. Excuse me. No problem, and rest well. This is interesting. I know I need to go to bed before I hit 24 because it's fine. I don't know. Is the hypocrite bringing us full circle? Maybe I can read this in a way of us seeking things that are not beneficial or nutritional to us. So with the hypocrite, it's just like it's doing a bunch of stuff that's supposed to help. Maybe it helps other people, but it's not us. It doesn't resonate with who we truly are. And so we get not mitigated, not negligible. It's like it's not as effective as we think it should be. Or again, it's like it just doesn't work for us as well as it works for everyone else. And it's because we're putting shoes on that don't fit, right? We're shaving our heels and cutting off toes to try to fit a glass slipper. Well, the slipper is glass, and the prince has a pair of functioning eyes. So he can see the blood that's pooling in the shoe because of how mutilated those girls were. And I don't know if it's like it's a matter of access, like not having access to things that are more beneficial, not having, it's almost like a good role model, but it's not like, because in the least like spicy way that I can read this, the one that feels the most true. Again, it's just like it's trying everything that it can find and nothing's working. So I don't know if it takes the best of what was and tries to force it to fit. But it's like there's going to come a point in time where it's not going to be helpful or useful anymore. It's very like, I know this might not necessarily be a universal. I wonder if they even have that expression in other countries. It's like a band-aid for a bullet wound. Band-aids are band-aids are great for like minor cuts and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But there's a certain depth of wound and a certain type of wound and a certain status where a band-aid isn't going to be helpful. There's something that's very not one size fits all. And so it is of no fault to the hypocrite that the hypocrite is a hypocrite. So, I mean, the easiest way to get to whatever we're looking for sometimes is to listen to ourselves, to tap in, to get in touch, and to get in tune, and to find a way to satisfy, balance, or appease our dualistic, multiplicitous, sometimes opposing natures. And it's like the thing about this Myrmecolian, or however you pronounce it, is if it can't find a way to satisfy both parts of itself, it will die. It will die of malnourishment. Now, it feels like things just like slowing down or not necessarily working as much. Oof. I'm a glutton for punishment apparently tonight because I'm going to do one more. Just one. I'm like, it's only been an hour and a half. It hasn't even been 5 hours. I can't leave yet. All right, last one for sure. I promise. Last one. There we go. Ooh, it's our buddy the centaur. Am I feeling this the same way, or am I feeling it differently? I'm feeling it the same but different. And it's making me think of the story of Heracles or Hercules and Pholus, and I guess Chiron. So Hercules went to go eat with Pholus, and for whatever reason, and Pholus served him I'm paraphrasing, served him a fine spread of food aplenty, everything that he could want, and meat. And Hercules was like, oh, this is such good food. I need a drink. And Pholus was like, what? And he's like, Hercules was like, how do you expect for me to eat my food without a drink? And Pholus is like, well, the only drink I have, really, because centaurs don't drink, is this wine from Bacchus. Centaurs don't drink. Here is a wine from the god of the vine. And it's Hercules. So, that weak, watered down stuff isn't going to do anything for him anyway. So off of the fumes was enough to intoxicate the centaurs, and they went into this rage. And the only way that Hercules could see fit to remedy the situation was violence. So he took arrows tipped in hydra blood and killed all the centaurs. And Pholus was like, centaurs are hardy AF. And you're going to tell me that a simple arrow killed them killed them? Like, what? So Pholus picks up the arrow, drops it. It lands in his foot. He dies instantly. So curiosity killed that cat. And there was no amount of satisfaction that could bring it back. And then somehow Chiron gets wounded with the poison. But since Chiron is immortal, he doesn't die. He just suffers eternally until he trades his immortality for not Orpheus, Prometheus's freedom. So this is feeling like there's a balance between the ego and the id, or super ego and the id, the ego and the higher self, whatever. It's like there's a very delicate balance here that the slightest bit of whatever can completely tip the scale in a way that, I'm like, violence is always the answer, apparently. Anyway, it's reading as like very that. Something where the slightest bit of inconvenience or the littlest amount of it's like the release of an inhibition, and like things go like all the way off the rails. Like regrets are had at that point, right? And then, poor Phallus is just like, whoa, like, I know that centaurs are tough AF. What is just killing them like that? Like, oh no, I dropped it. Oof. So I think there's also like a know thyself, to thine own self be true. And there's also like, now Phallus had Hercules. Hercules wasn't Disney's Hercules. And it's like you you don't give Hercules a drink if he asks for one. Now Hercules isn't necessarily Thor or like Odin, but still, you can't really refuse. But it's not at the comfort of someone else or at the expense of self to put oneself in danger. It's so important to know the self. It's like, if you can't even have a sip of alcohol without having 10 decades worth of regret, it's just like, it's almost like, at what point is it worth it? And don't allow someone else to get you to compromise yourself in ways that aren't worth it to you. I guess it's also interesting because I'm watching a show on Netflix right now, and there was like a flower that whenever you inhale its pollen, I guess, it makes you like really giggly and silly and kind of mischievous. It's like the giggle bloom or something like that. I don't remember. All right. Oh, no, that's way too much archetype. Archetype for the centaur, please. I wouldn't be surprised if the arbiter comes out as like a balance. All right, centaur. None of these have necessarily been what I thought they would be. Some of these a lot more kind. Am I going to get anything? Yeah, I am. I'll give it 2 more. And I'll pull the card off. There we go. Oh. So because the centaur is also more than one, I will accept both of the archetypes that have come out. Can you guess what the archetypes are? I'll give you a hint. One of them we've already seen. The angel is back. And then Grace is here. We've seen both of these. Grace came out with the fairy. The angel came out. The angel was one of the archetypes that came out for the manticore. Both, like the manticore had the face of a human, the centaur has the upper body of a human. Maybe Grace is about, it's like, it's such a delicate balance. It's such a fine line. And it's almost like with the angel here, like the angel in Grace is just this energy, like there's no judgment. The only judgment that exists is the judgment that we cast on ourselves. And the judgment of others, should we so choose to allow that to hold any kind of weight in our life. Kidding. Grace and angel. I think Grace and angel is also like, it's like, it's not to be too civilized either, to the point where we get taken advantage of. Like, there's a certain amount of grace that can be extended. There's a certain amount of grace and understanding and compassion that we should extend. But we should also have limits. Phallus didn't have to die. And it should, did it really take hydra poison? Did it really take death to get the centaurs to calm down? No. Some people, when they drink, they can be, very hard to manage. But yeah, grace is just like it's giving me very delicate balance energy. And like the centaur is able to be both man and horse and still remain itself. So it's like it's again, it goes back to a self knowing, but it's like there's just something about it where it's like it's not to be taken advantage of, or it's not to be compromised for the convenience or because someone else just like wants whatever. Um, and like it's okay to establish a boundary. I think also too, it is a little bit of like all work and no play, but also all play and no work. Trying to look up. I know that's not a burrito. I think it's a scroll. Yeah, that's a scroll. A scroll in the club. It's the educated and the brute. It's brains and brawn, honestly. It almost feels like it's such a deep and rich knowing of oneself that it can allow it to be what it needs and whatever. Like any of the strengths of mutable energy, like this is it. Being able to exist in multiple scenarios, situations, environments, and circumstances to be able to show up differently and appropriately in each and not feel any less like the self, because it's an understanding that the self is expansive enough that it can incorporate multiple, maybe even seemingly opposing aspects or whatever. So there's some strong self worth, self love, self value. There's a lot of strong self here to establish those boundaries and to do so with the grace. So that's what I got. That was whatever this is. No question mark, question mark, question mark. Am I going to get a final card? I guess I am. And it is the satyr. It's like a centaur, but only half as long on the bottom. You need an advisor, a satyr but wiser, a good merchandiser to grow. I get the greenhorn. Satyrs are like poetic and stuff. Like a centaur or Sagittarius is more about the knowledge and learning, and I guess also philosophy. The satyr is more about arts, artistry, and poetry, and the simple pleasures in life. You know, maybe a little bit more carnal, but if you give a centaur a whiff of anything mildly fermented, it'll put the most satirist of satyrs to shame. So the eccentric at the bottom, with the angel at the top. The eccentric angel. Yeah, because we see the angel popping up everywhere. But there are many. Angels are many. And I think also it's something about the principality behind the angel that extends to more realms and domains than we may necessarily think, and in ways that we may not necessarily think. I don't know. So that was whatever this is. No question mark, question mark, question marks asked. no periods, commas, exclamation points given. I hope you all have an amazing whenever you see this. If you're not, I hope you have a much better one, at least hopefully relatively soon. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. I hope that whatever you need along your path journey and way you find in a way that is recognizable and incorporable. Is that a word? And until next time, thank you all for being here, and I will see you later. Bye.